thought of focusing more onto the global change. So I focused on global management as a way to see how the world is evolving. So my focus, I had this in an interview 15 years ago with an American channel, and I said, look, what I saw, the future evolution of food consumption is focused on this global citizenship, where my son and my daughter will be eating the same thing your son, because you're the oldest here, Fathi, right? So my son and your son will eat the same food. Yeah, maybe your grandsons, and my grandson will definitely be very similar in the way they think, right? Today we're all driven by AI. Look, AI is shaping the way we look into things, Even eating habits, eating fads, or eating tricks, or whatever we called, for example, intermittent fasting. What is this? I mean, we have been doing it for the last 100 years. الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول صوموا تصحوا. صحيح? And now they have discovered that by fasting number of hours, you become more healthy and you lose weight. Right? So we have it. But now the world is coming into terms with eating habits, with so many ways and means of thinking, which will shape the way we produce food. Example, responsible agriculture practices, right? Example, every today is looking for that. Organic food. Seems that everybody will be now looking at where the food come from, traceability, right? So now everybody will be thinking, well, who have produced this food? Was it really fair trade? Yeah, that's the way. So thinking is becoming highly unified. Despite all these political differences and wars and problems, we seem to be confined and unified and getting very much together in the way we eat, right? So when we do project, we need to think of what is happening. طيب? Now, you would see definitely how trade unions are shaping the way production is done. اتحادات، جمعيات المزارعين، جمعيات العمل المشترك, all those people are now putting forces on governments and ministries, okay, with their conditions. So you'll see trade unions all over the country, all over a lot of countries. They wanted part of the money comes to them. So now, but what we're doing في العز food, we are reducing middlemen in the process. تفضلوا. أعتقد you need more chairs. السلام عليكم. طيبة؟ Yeah. Chairs. Bring more chairs. Yeah. تفضل. أهلا وسهلا. أهلا وسهلا. Yes. So الطريقة الآن اللي احنا نفهمها إنه المزارعين, farmers, trade unions, they are putting more pressure on the way the government are forming policies. So this is another thing that we need to look at when we are preparing our policies. روح اللي بعدها خليش. Yeah. So then we have food security and then self-sufficiency. احنا نسميه الأمن الغذائي والاكتفاء الذاتي in Arabic. الأمن الغذائي والاكتفاء الذاتي. The two concepts which are mixed. A lot of people do mix الأمن الغذائي, food security, with self-sufficiency. While self-sufficiency could be anything that you do to produce enough for yourselves. You may not even have food security. An example, in India, for example, they produce more than enough of rice. 40% of that rice is wasted because of logistics. Yeah? So yes, they are self-sufficient, but they're not food secure. And you can correlate this here, I'm sure, in places where They produce a lot of food, but it's wasted on the go. Yeah? So this is very important also for us when we are forming policies, we are building business models. We understand by creating a value chain proposition, we have to understand that by moving food, say from Nairobi to Mombasa to Oman, yeah, there are a lot of pitfalls in the middle that we need to cover when designing. So we need to understand this. أعطيكم على سبيل المثال من Tanzania a few years ago from Dodoma, some companies from Oman were taking meat. This is frozen or chilled meat. They take it all the way to Dar es Salaam, and then from Dar es Salaam it either flies. They fly through air cargo. So what happened from Dodoma to Dar es Salaam? The truck drivers will switch off the freezers, the Thermo King. They will switch it off to save money. طبعا it will still reach a bit cold, but خلاص it's now in the process of rotting. And then it gets frozen again or chilled again in the air when they transport it. When it reaches Oman, when it thaws, it's already rotten. It will be rejected. So thinking of the process of value chain as part of the way we develop our business models is quite important. What I want to highlight here is the importance of understanding these two concepts. Yeah, because there are fundamental differences between the two. Only domestically produced food is referring to self-sufficiency. And food security can be anything. I can be a food secure country like Oman is one of the best food secure countries in the world. We have ranked 32, 34. We are always between 30 and 40 globally. We have even ranked better than some European countries and some famous countries. Although we don't produce much food, majority of our food is imported. But we are being classified and ranked as one of the best food secure countries, despite the fact we do not produce much. You can be a major food producer and not food secure. So you can be self-sufficient, but you're not food secure. Right? But then, if you classify the items, say for example, in dates, Oman is 100% food secure. في التمور احنا ننتج 100% ونصدر 10% ونستورد 10%. فالرياليتي is 100%. Right? فهذا مثال على الاكتفاء الذاتي في التمور. In fisheries, we are 150% or more self-sufficient. So we export more than 50%. We have a lot of surplus fish. We export to the whole world. In Oman, 80 countries are receiving our fish daily. طيب? So this is an example of two things. We are food secure in fisheries. We are self-sufficient in fisheries. So one have to understand these two different concepts. Sometimes they intertwine. People are mixing them together. So as I said, India produces a lot of rice, but there are places in India where they don't get rice. It's too difficult. فهذا الفرق بين موضوع الأمن الغذائي والاكتفاء الذاتي. Next slide, please. No, this is too long. Okay, so there's something called food innovation. We look at food innovation, and I'll give you some examples today of food innovation that we have discussed with farmers, with producers, with associations. And let's just highlight some of these ideas that are there. على سبيل المثال عندنا موضوع البن, which Yusuf and his team, they do a great job there, and he's a guru in he's a Q grader in coffee as well, an expert in tea, and we met a number of farmers هنا. We ask them question, what do you do with this? He said it's waste. What do you do with this? It's waste. Do you know what you can get from this? He said, well, no. No idea. We only deal with beans, washed, ready beans. So there are food innovation today. You can make from the leaves of coffee, you can make tea. It's already in the market, by the way. It's not our innovation. We are just looking and surveying markets. طيب. The peels of the coffee, okay, the peels, the red peels of the red berry, if well done, it becomes a very precious sort of. Those who know it's called cascara in other places. في اليمن مثلا هو الشراب المفضل عند اليمنيين. اليمنيين ما يشربوا القهوة العادية كثير، يشربون قشر البن. Please confirm that.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay. So someone from Yemen already told me it's true, because when I visited him 20 years ago in Sana'a, that was given to me, and I liked it. Yeah. So I mean, these are some of the example of what you can do. You can do from the waste. A lot of things you can do from the waste. In circular economy, you can convert a lot of food waste into very expensive resources. Very cheap resources like sisal. Okay, sisal can be converted into rugs. It can also be converted into clothes. Very protective clothes, very organic, very natural. It can compete also with other fabric, which is very expensive. طيب. So why sisal is only used to make gypsum decorations? They mix it with gypsum to allow it to bind, okay? But you can do more expensive things from sisal. And likewise, a lot of synthetic material can come from a lot of waste in the food system. So today what we are doing, unfortunately, we are wasting a lot of resources. And with that, food security becomes an issue, because in Oman, for example, we have a concept called Oman Food Bank. And that food bank today is very active. It collects surplus food from restaurants, from banquets, from hotels like this, and prepare it and send it to the needy on a daily fashion, okay, through very highly controlled safety measures and a value chain. So this is one of the innovations that we are having today, getting us to zero waste in food. We want to become zero waste, organizations and countries. So that's something that we want to add. Yesterday I was in his factory, the oil factory here, and he explained to me, Abu Anas, that nothing is wasted. Everything is being converted and recycled. It makes me very, very happy to see examples of how people can be innovative. ممكن تروحي اللي بعدها السلايد عشان نختصر على الناس ونفتح النقاش الحوار. Okay. Sorry. Well, these the internal factors that affect our food security. Socio-economic policies, agri-business ecosystem, government, infrastructure, funding, political will by the government, sense of urgency, awareness, etc. And then the external factors are political conflict, maritime logistics, and environmental and source of climate change, and supplier country. أعطيكم على سبيل المثال, India during COVID-19 era, 5 years ago, decided they want to stop exporting basmati rice. Yeah, so source country have decided that affects our food security. طيب. So these are examples. The current conflict in the Gulf and what is happening in Red Sea has affected everything in the GCC. Where companies like Sadia, who used to export their chicken to the Gulf, could not do it, so they decided to invest in Saudi. Yeah, because going all that way, increasing insurance costs have affected. So whatever happening in the world, these external factors will definitely affect food security. So during COVID-19, in my country, Oman, everything was geared to make sure that our shelves do not get empty. So the whole country was working day and night. Everybody was working together with airlines, with storage, with logistics, to make sure that we have enough to cover us for the coming months and say years. For that reason, Oman have ranked quite highly, and the whole GCC have ranked quite highly, because we were planning ahead of time to make sure that we do not meet a crisis. So these the external factors do affect us internally. احنا في البلدان في الخليج لأنه ما ننتج شيء. احنا we do not produce much. 85% of our food is imported. So we are in a very, very fragile situation, whereby we have to be really, stringent when it comes to planning. So with this, I will end this presentation. You can stop the presentation. I'll just tell you my observations, and then I would love to make it an open forum, because that is much better for your time. So I would love to hear challenges, experience, information, for those who are doing research at this side, and for those who are doing business with the Gulf, and what are we really facing of difficulties. You all remember that 4 years ago, we have imported around 40,000 heads of animals. That was in the news. Oman, one of the companies that I used to be in the board, I founded also, was focusing on importing live animals from here. Thanks to our your previous ambassador to Oman, محمد whom I met in Mombasa, luckily this time. And with the company, they have imported it. It was in the news. Everybody celebrated that Kenya is back into livestock export the Omani market. Yeah. So this shows that the opportunities are there, but why they are untapped? Big question. And that's for us to answer. There'll be issues on the way. They help us explore why we could not unleash the full potential of Kenya to the GCC. Yeah? So maybe this is just an open question for us to start looking at it and maybe answer it. And the other difficulties that we face are the structural sort of requirement for a successful investment venture into East Africa. When I say East Africa, it includes all these countries that have a lot of similarities, except for one thing, that Kenya is highly more advanced. It's a more sort of vibrant economy that allows, the economy is for more than 10 billion GDP. Yeah, for those who know the numbers. Yeah, so with an economy as such, compared to the other surrounding countries, I think Kenya can lead. We can learn a lot from what Kenya's success is. However, for us to attract people from GCC to come here, it takes a lot of work from the Kenyan side. Okay, so the investment ecosystem should be revisited again. Tax regimes, for example, or tax imposed on investors. Issues relating to speed of doing things, what you call the ease of doing business. So go back, for example, to the report that issued on an annual basis and see where are we ranking. Okay, where are we ranking in terms of ease of doing business? Because that's quite important. Because in ease of doing business, it is not an impression. It is interviews done with people who are really facing difficulties or facing maybe realities or happy with what is happening. Those rankings, those studies, those comments will help us in deciding what policy changes that we need to adopt. So I think I'll rather stop here. Before, of course, we reach Maghreb, I would like really to make it into a lively discussion and maybe share with us your experiences with trading with us, the difficulties you faced when you started making business with us. And then success stories, it's very important. Hopes, ambitions, and realities are very important, because I'm sure whatever we say سيكون له أثر كبير جدا في تحديد ماهية التطلعات التي تسعون لها في المنتدى، كذلك لفتح آفاق أخرى من الحوار المتقدم مع مع صناع القرار ومع رجال الأعمال ومع المفكرين ومع الأدباء ومع من يعنيه هذه العلاقة الأزلية. يعني أنا كنت حاضرت قبل يعني أشهر قليلة في منتدى العماني الأفريقي إيتكس. For some of you who attended ETEX, and I said very clearly that we are already in a kinship environment. We are relatives in blood, we are relatives in culture, we are relatives. The Arabs and the Kenyans are relatives. For that reason, the East Africans, so let's see it from that angle, and let's say whatever we say today has a purpose, is to foster these relationships, is to make it stronger, is to unleash the potential, which is great, and then create more opportunities. I see the opportunities. I've already seen it. 10 days of visiting all, majority of the countries. We've decided to get into deals. Alhamdulillah, we're already there. And with the support of Dr. Khalid and his team, we are reaching there. فجزاكم الله خير. شكرا جزيلا على وقتكم، على إصغائكم، على استماعكم. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
شكرا لك المهندس صالح على هذه المحاضرة الوافية. طورت فينا في محطات مختلفة، وهذا دلالة على خبرتك الكبيرة في مجال الأمن الغذائي، وأيضا اطلاعك على وأيضا تخصصك في الجانب هذا. فشكرا على هذه المحاضرة القيمة، ووجودك أيضا هنا أيضا مع الإخوة الموجودين يكون في نقاش متبادل فيما بينكم، استفاد من قامة كقامة المهندس صالح بخبرته. فأي تساؤل فطيب الحوار عن هدفنا إلى أن يكون هذه المحاضرة تكون فيها حوار ونقاش، ونصل في النهاية إلى نضع توصيات مختلفة وتوصيات معينة ممكن نعمل على تحقيقها على أرض الواقع. فالمجال مفتوح لكم، وتفضل.
You can do it in English, you can do it in Arabic, whatever. تفضل.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
وعليكم السلام. أهلا وسهلا.
شكرا جزيلا بروفيسور صالح على المحاضرة، وكانت متألقة يعني ما شاء الله تبارك الله. ربنا يعينك ويوفقك. تعرضت بشكل سريع جدا من معوقات الاستثمار في كينيا. تكلمت عن ترايب، لكن دارين نسمع منك أكثر.
Remuneration to the shareholders and to give, of course, bonuses to our employees. Just imagine for 10 years you cannot do it because of policies, because of surprises. So this is a major issue for countries. If they want to attract more investors, they have to look into this. They have to listen to the investors. Okay? It happens that in many cases all over the world, what we call the death valley. There's a death valley between investors and policymakers. In your case, because you're not driven by investment, you're not driven by politics, you're driven by cultural exchange. You can do that. You can help us from the private sector with the policymakers to communicate in a very neutral environment like this one. So this is one issue that you always need to talk through chambers of commerce, through other organizations, talk to the policymakers with regards to tax regimes. All these levies, if somebody very innovative, and the tax people are very innovative, by the way. They're always all over the world. They will always think of something that will increase the revenue, which is good. But you're increasing the revenue at the same time, you're repelling the investors. They will just close, shift, and sell and go. They will go for another haven where it's more attractive, less sort of stringent when it comes to taxation. So this is, I think, your role as investors, the Chamber of Commerce, and maybe those who do research, is your role to keep talking in a forum, in an open forum, sometime just discussions, brainstorming, continuous, non-stop. طبعا the first impression you get from a policymaker is no, which is normal. Okay, that's their way of responding, is no. Today, you know, when you ask somebody for some, you know, some tax holidays for investors who are going to invest $10 million or 20 or $50 million, and that will take him 3 years into production, and another 2 years to break even, right? And then maybe another 2 years to start giving some revenue. Why don't you do 10 years of tax holiday? That becomes very attractive because other people are doing it already. So this is my thinking of how we attract investors to come here, by creating sort of a tax environment that is more conducive to attracting more investors. So this is one way of looking at it. تفضل.
شكرا. اسمي تيو. South Sudanese American. I was amazed by how Oman achieved food security 100% while they don't produce much. There must be strategies,
of course,
that Oman implemented. Maybe you can share with us the things that could help Kenya or East Africa get ahead or become even food security.
أحسنت, شكرا جزيلا. Quite a great question. Thank you very much. You see, 10 years ago or 12 years ago, Oman started a number of food security projects projecting the difficulties. We have learned from 2008 food crisis. If you remember, those who remember, 2008 there was a food crisis. Okay, same time we have climate problems where we have cyclones that have affected our value chain, and we have learned from that. 2011, 2012, in fact, I was invited to to build a food security structure consisting of a number of startups and companies, you know, focusing on areas where we are less strong. For example, dairy. Oman used to import most of its dairy products. Today, just one project, I give you an example of one project that I started. It is a Mazoon Dairy, a company called Mazoon Dairy. We have 12,000 cows, Holstein. Best breed, and very hot country. We are very hot country when it comes to summer. It's boiling temperature. Today, we have these cows in the desert, right? And we brought them from northern Australia with a very specific, heat-resistant gene. So science is there, genetics is there. So everything is based on science, and we created an environment where, through AI, these cows can communicate with us. Okay, so we know exactly what is the problem with car number so and so. We have callers, we have RFD, information is emitted from each and every single cow. Okay, when they will be given birth, when they need to become pregnant, when they are sick, every information is controlled. So we adopted science, we adopted AI to create an environment whereby we will be self-sufficient, even partially, in dairy. So today we are heading toward getting very close to 80%. So one company here, another company is started also restructuring, and another company here. So take another example. 20 years ago, one of the companies that I started with 11 million birds, chicken, poultry, دواجن. اوكي. انت من السودان صح؟ انا كنت رئيس اللجنه التنفيذيه في الدواجن العربي في السودان. Yeah, which does not exist anymore. اختفت. You know that. You know the reason. Yeah. So poultry, دواجن. So we started this company 20 years ago بالتعاون مع الهيئة العربية. Those who were in Sudan. Yeah. So and now the company is 45 million birds per year. We produce 45 million birds per year. Imagine. with another company and another company, we are almost self-sufficient. And we compete. Without subsidy, we compete with the imports from Brazil and from other countries in the world. So let me take you from one model to another, and you will find our food security is not policy only. Politicians will love to talk highly about what they're going to achieve the next 10 years, right? We don't do that. What we did is this, and this is the secret. Because I came from, though I'm an agronomist, I was responsible for a number of regions in terms of policy, okay, agriculture extension, agriculture research, and so on. But then I was lucky to move to investment banking, to leasing, to another world, which is banking, leasing, and so on, being a farmer. So you combine the two together. It gives a perfect sort of formula to think differently. Allah yarhamak. To think differently. So what we did, we brought all stakeholders, exactly this number, that we have today. 50, 60, 70 influential people from all facets of life in Oman, from parliaments, policymakers, from government, ministries, bankers, journals, trade unions, and so on, associations, and throw to them our thinking. And with a discussion, with debates, we were able to relook and revisit our thinking process. And we brought an international, consultant who will help us in the process. And then formulated the process, launched the feasibility study based on the feedback that we received. وبعدين had another session after the findings, after we formulated the number of projects and the number of initiatives. We did then the vision, mission, and objectives in a very structured form and converted everything into projects. And this is the key. This is what I called food security will be achieved through a project-driven policy. So it's not policy in vain. It is a policy supported by a way of projects, very specific projects, say poultry, meat, chicken, dates, fisheries, and then logistics, and so on. So it have to be structured in a way that the underlying activities are projects. Yes, so you can talk highly and widely and loudly about policies. And you'll be very sort of, noticed, and you'll be very noisy in the media. Oh, everybody will praise you. But you end your term, khalas, is gone. It'll be forgotten, and someone else will do it again. In our way, I said no. This was a condition for me to work. And I talked to the board members. I said, the only way for me to be able to lead this sort of food security programs is only through projects. And that was the case. Yeah. So key learnings for our countries, for South Sudan, for East Africa, for this country specifically, we can learn from this by fostering the concept of projects-driven food security. Lovely, very tasty. And then that was wasted because it was a taboo in our country to sell camel milk. It was a taboo. It was forbidden. Milk have to be given as a gift. Yeah. Now to change this way of thinking and to convince the farmers to collect the milk through a hygienic way, bring it to the chilling and collection center, and then send it to processing, and then have it in the market as pasteurized, very healthy, hygienic milk, it was a game changer. So to do that, yes, a lot of debates, a lot of discussion, talking to the people in the ground, and then convincing them that this project will work in their favor. When instead of spending, most of the families, they spend $1,000 on their cattle, you know, who owns, it's like here, like the Maasais. They own how many cows as a sign of wealth? In our country it was. Owning like 100 camels or 200 camels is a sign of importance of, I don't know, Khalid, do you own camels?
No,
Cows. Yeah, see? You know? So that sign is for now they have this is a sign of wealth. Why you sell milk? You have to give it away. And this is, I mean, in my house we don't own camels, but our friends bring every day a jerry can full of camel milk. Now we told them stop because we buy it from the supermarket. We were able to convince them and to change the way they produce milk. And instead of giving it as gifts, we started reversing the process. Today they earn $1,000 instead of spending $1,000. So this structural change with socioeconomic impact is very important when you drive policies. People have to feel and touching money, feeling, then you are improving the livelihood of families.
Paradigm shift.
Paradigm shift. You have to do it that way. You have to show models. Okay? With time, people will accept it. And still, you know, there's still some give this milk as a gift, but not as much as they used to be. Now they feel the money side. Yeah. So make sure that when you do a policy, work with the people in the grassroots, the elders, the sheikhs, you know, people in the ground, because they know better than us even how to do it. We explain to them how to do it. Now Saudi example, for example, I got requests from Saudi. They talk to me. They say they won't do it the way we did it. But they say, look, Saudi is a bit different because we have a grazeland, huge grazeland. Now today, if you look at Salalah, it's all green, exactly the way it is here in Kericho or in Nakoro. It's very green. So we have grazeland. The animals are grazing happily. But in Saudi, they don't have it. It's even forbidden for them to graze. They're all reserves. So I said, this is a different model. We have to design a model that fits the way, the way camels are raised in Saudi Arabia. This is just an example of how we can develop policies. Unfortunately, you know, with all the respect to your UN system, it doesn't work that way because it doesn't work with the grassroots. Policies start with the top, top down. We start from bottom up, and that's why we're successful. I'm ready to share with you, to work with you very closely for those who are doing studies and those who want to build models. We'll also invite you to come and see what we're doing. And
Saleh, my name is Mohammed. I'm a former central banker, and my latest tour of duty was I was the CEO of Kenya Deposit Insurance Corporation, founder and CEO of Kenya Deposit Insurance, which was ensuring stability of your money in the bank. But now I'm a retired civil servant. Don't ask me how old I am. And I think I really, really want to thank Engineer Salah because the future is food security. Actually, the next global war is on food and water. So I'm so impressed we are talking about food security today. Mine will be more of a comment and a feedback. And I'm so happy about when you're saying we want to unleash opportunities. I want to change that word unleash to unlock opportunities and bilateral trade. I took an initiative in December 2023. I visited Kuwait and I met so many business people in Kuwait. I was actually marketing Kenya to Kuwaitis. And I was marketing to them the opportunities available in Kenya. And of course, some of the issues they raised, thank you, Engineer Salah, you have already raised it. Most of the issues which I think we need in the future to work with Ambassador Khalid was mostly bureaucracy and artificial inefficiency. I don't want to use the other word, I want to be correct. Artificial inefficiencies. And there's also a kind of fear and uncertainty amongst our Arab brothers to invest in Africa, particularly this side of Africa. And I think it is something which maybe we work closely with the ambassador himself. We need to change that mindset. Here today we are talking about paradigm shift. And I think the paradigm shift will even start from the mental status of our brothers in the Arab. Because I told them actually in one of the lectures, that you have been told Africa is an unsafe business destination. And I told them in Kenya today, the 4 top companies are either British or American owned. And the funds, maybe the equity in those institutions, maybe the equity you are placing with those countries, wherever they are. So we really need to work very, very closely. I know there are some limitations, I know there are some challenges, but we can turn these challenges into opportunities by working very closely with the government through lobbies. And you talked about ease of doing business, and I think that one can be done. Because I'm sure, as you rightly said, we have a lot of association between the Arab world and Africa. And the next frontier for investment is in Africa. Don't be cheated. Because Africa is still virgin. And this is the only place where resources have remained. And I think we should all put our heads and our energies together to see how we can bring our brothers, those investments they are taking to those developed world, how they were going to. Actually, I even suggested to some of them, open a bank, come and open your own bank in Kenya, come and manage your own funds. So if you don't even trust our banks, come, we'll open for you a bank, come and manage your own funds. Come and look at the business opportunities in not only Kenya, in the commercial region. And we are talking about a population of 400 million in the commercial region, which actually you can start with from Kenya. I was telling them, come open refineries, bring your oil here. And flight, they are talking of they've been trying to get direct flights, but they have been having a lot of challenges. So I know there is a bit of work which we all need to do. And mashallah, now I've met the ambassador. I think I'll also try to work with the ambassador. It was my own initiative actually that I did. Because I was saying we need to unlock these relationships and these opportunities. Because there's a lot of opportunities here, and those are people, funds, sitting in banks doing nothing. Which funds can be brought here, they can actually earn returns. So I'm talking a lot of finance, earn returns, and of course will also be good for our country. There are a lot of opportunities in this country. But we also need to work very closely with the government. There are some few changes which we need to be done, and then we can all do it. Actually, mine was more of a comment and a feedback. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you, President, for your very, clear and motivating sort of comment. Well, in that case, let me talk to an investor who already investing in oil, but this is edible oil. Mr. Fathi Hail Saeed from East Africa Oil. So, Abu Anas, would you give us your thoughts? Would be nice. Yeah.
So, good afternoon. Good evening. Thank you, Brother Saleh. I am Fathi Saeed. I am the managing director of a company called Golden Africa, Kenya, manufacturers of edible oil, ghee, fat, and soap. Maybe one of you have tried our brands, Alina and Pika. Hopefully. As an investor, when we decided to invest in East Africa, East Africa is the closest in heart and in culture, in common interest to the Arab world.
Definitely.
Compared to the rest of the African continent. So, as global investors, we are part of a multinational company that operates in 14 countries all over the world. 7 of them are in Africa. Manufacturing. So we are mainly in FMCG, in food. This is the main business of the group, which is 86 years old, family business. When we did the initial study to come to Kenya to serve the East African region in the edible oil sector, it was in 2013. How policies can change and can have an impact on your business plan. Then I think things were okay, were just normal, because in this business it takes years, to reach the break even, and in the manufacturing break even can sometimes take up to 5 years. Yeah. So you have to invest in distribution, etc., etc. So everything was okay. Then COVID came. this is what we call an external factor that was not in the plan. Then COVID came, so distribution was affected, schools were closed, restaurants were closed, and we're talking about cooking oil and soap. So that had an impact. So when we were almost, reaching breaking it. But then, then a lot of external factors happened in this industry. But what I would like to point out is that where we are today. Today there are about 13 manufacturers of edible oil. Just to give an example about how sometimes the policies are not in favor of the manufacturers. So today the consumption of edible oil in Kenya is about 980,000. So let's say a million ton of edible oil, which is imported. I'm talking about palm oil. The installed capacity is 2 million. So we as manufacturers, the best of us is running around 48% of its capacity. And that's because the government kept giving licenses to anyone who wants to open a factory. Okay, open a factory, go ahead. And this is very serious. Because when we put up that factory in every society, especially in Africa, we have to be self-sufficient. So local manufacturers should get a lot of incentives. Sorry, it's not happening. So what I'd like, and I said that in front of the MPs, because I was fighting against not imposing. They wanted to impose a duty on imported palm oil from 0 to 25% in one shot. In one shot, 25% in one shot. The impact will be to the end consumer. At the end, me as a manufacturer, I will produce. I will suffer to sell at a higher price, but then the impact will be to the end consumer. So this issue, finally, luckily that proposal did not go through, and it was tragic. I think you remember what happened last year. So again, and I told the MPs, make Kenya attractive again for investors. Some people didn't like it, but this is the fact. So again, I think we need a sustainable policies. As I said, that what we hate most as investors is surprises. I can tell you, I get surprises almost every day. But in short, this country has a great future. East Africa has a great future. I love Kenya. I've been here for 5 years. But I think we need all to work with all the decision makers to make it business friendly, yes, and easy to do business.
All right, thank you very much. Well said. Okay, I cannot add more to what you said at the last comment. If that's the last comment, the way he is telling me. But let me sum up. I think what we hear today, experiences on the ground, ambitions. I have been in Africa. I've been quite a long visitor to countries that I like more. In fact, one time they were calling me at home the Sudanese, because even Sudanese songs I love to hear. And I bring food from Africa all over. But look, Africa, yes, our ancestors came to the coast, and they came to the coast as traders, but they settled there and married there. And now today we see, the Swahilis, the Swahili culture. Even in Oman today, we're so proud of the Swahili culture. Maybe 25% of the Omanis speak Swahili in the country itself. You will hear Swahili all over, because that's how we are intertwined with our culture, our food, our cuisine, with a lot of similarities. Because this is very important for us to maintain, to continue, to thrive, and to expand it. At the same time, to make Africa more conducive to business, more attractive to business, as you rightly said, is your job, is your work. We are here, we'll start with trade. And this is how we're doing it currently. With Ethiopia and with Tanzania, and maybe with Kenya soon, focus more, be on trade. We did some trade with Uganda, and Burundi is a good source of tea to Oman. Uganda is a good source of coffee, as well as Ethiopia, where Yusuf is very strong there. So now we want to shift to Kenya. Of course, we are working closely with very good logistics sort of entities. I think, inshallah, we're expecting to see more deals coming. But yes, to unlock the opportunities is one thing, and maybe to unleash, once we unlock, to go to the next level of unleashing the opportunities and finding ways and means to make it easy to do business here. So let me end it there. شكرا جزيلا لكم وبارك الله فيكم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
شكرا مهندس صالح، وشكرا لكم وشكرا لحضوركم. وإن شاء الله الآن وقت الصلاة وفي تفضلوا. وأيضا نطلب أي ملاحظات أي اقتراحات، نحن الآن نصادر الاستماع وإلى أي ملاحظات